Hey everybody, this is Brad Bruce and I'm here with
Jace Marsiglia.
and you're listening to the 5195 podcast.
That's right. It's a haunting episode, mostly because our producer Tina's back. We were going to talk. I feel like it's kind of long past due.
I agree.
Considering all the paranormal shit we talk about, and seems like a cool thing to touch on this time.
Yeah, I'm giddy. I'm excited to be here. Thank
I
you
could
for
tell.
having me. I am. I'm
Well, I'll tell you this, you definitely did more research than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've been researching this for the past decade. So,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
for sure.
Okay.
I definitely.
Well, then you know what? You definitely did more research than I did.
Yeah. I'm having my Ron Swanson moment right now.
Holy.
I know more than you.
You clearly do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you said, well, you brought this up.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you were still back home when you were like, what about if we did...
Oh, yeah. And you
A
were like,
show.
Tina would jump all over.
Yeah, and then it was
Right.
funny because I said, well, first of all, what we're talking about is Jace brought up that we should do a show on Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not really that well versed, but I know someone who is.
Mm-hmm.
And then one morning at breakfast, I looked down at my watch and it was like 8:40. And I said, hey, Jace mentioned that we should do a show on Ed and Lorraine. And then she started talking and then she didn't stop. And then I looked at my watch and we had actually changed 2 locations and it was like almost 1.
Oh,
Shut
And she
up.
was still going. And I was like, shut up.
So stupid.
sort of
no, I did it.
telepathic.
Yeah, I just asked one fucking question and it went on for like 6 hours. The answer went on for 6 hours.
No, it didn't.
I had the
Oh,
1,000-yard
God.
stare.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what she's got going on here because, to my knowledge, I don't think there's like 20-something movies here, and
24.
I didn't even know it. Yeah, we'll have to go through see what's what.
24 movies. I learned this preparing for this episode.
I just knew of like, let me see, three. I knew of 9.
That's still a lot.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you're not kidding, dude.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, a 4th and final movie for The Conjuring, and the rumor is a Max ongoing series.
Okay, well, they said that about The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope we don't retread that one. That's already, we've been there, we've done that. And there's documentaries about it too. So,
They said The Devil Made Me Do It would be the last one. So I'm shocked there's going to be another.
yeah. And this one's called, I think, The Last Rites, is what I heard. So,
No, boy.
Crazy. Oh,
Yep.
boy.
Yep.
I don't
Well, I
even
mean, they're
know. I
getting
don't know how
close.
many I've seen.
They're getting close to the end.
I think I've seen maybe 2 or 3.
I don't even know if you've seen that many,
I probably not because I've never seen a nun movie.
Mm-hmm.
which is a travesty.
I've seen an Annabelle movie, and all I remember is that like it takes place at the beginning. There's like a house. There's like a shot of a house at night,
Mm-hmm.
like a single story house, and there's like a dumpster or something. And then there's like,
I feel like you're talking about Mulholland Drive,
and then there's like,
which also stars Bonnie Aarons, you know. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I've seen the movie. I don't know. I could be just making stuff up
Honestly,
because
I don't think you have.
I don't remember any of this. I don't remember any of these movies.
Well, you've seen the Amityville movie.
like one, I think.
Yeah.
which blew my mind because we were talking about,
But I'm not a possession guy. I'm not that ghost guy. Like, there's only like one or 2 movies that I really like that deal in that shit, and it's Poltergeist and The Entity.
Amazing movies.
not even The Exorcist, huh?
No, I mean I like The Exorcist, but it's just like,
5195podcast@gmail.com.
All hate mail addressed to Brad.
yeah, bring it, fucking bring it. Like, there's so much more fun in Poltergeist than there is Exorcist.
I agree with that.
Poltergeist moves at a better clip.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it does. I mean, it's
But I still like The Exorcist.
Yeah, me too.
it's okay. It's okay. How much Exorcist stuff do you see around here? None.
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a one.
I mean, I have an original 1 sheet of The Entity, and I just acquired for my birthday a very interesting piece from Poltergeist.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The taxi cab, which is
Happy birthday.
thank you.
Which is what is that the one the daughter pulls up in?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I saw
cool.
that and was like, you have to have this.
Yeah. I love obscure weird shit.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not knocking this series.
Well, you can't because there's 24 movies.
I mean,
so
I
that
can
goes
because it's
to
like if
show
you haven't
that
got
they're
your
good.
fucking message across in the first fucking dozen, do you really got to do another dozen?
Here's the thing. They wouldn't have if it wasn't making bank.
And me, frankly, I want to know the stories behind every object in their museum.
I do too. And there's thousands of objects inside their museum. Literally, the stories are endless. And just
There's
so
only
you
one
know-
cool museum, and you're fucking sitting in it, all right?
It is the
I'm not gonna
coolest one we
argue
can
that.
visit.
Yeah, I agree. Marty went to the actual Conjuring house. So jealous.
And he
Mhm.
went, oh.
Yeah, he did. He
Oh.
said it wasn't haunted. It was scary.
See, that's why I love Marty.
Yeah, I do. Marty would definitely be a good one to have on this show. We'll have to have him on
This
for an
particular episode?
Oh,
Yeah,
a part
this-
two?
yeah,
What, we're going to do a
or
part
something.
two of...
There's definitely enough to talk about. You know that Ed and Lorraine Warren were demonologists. That's what they call themselves. So they did paranormal research, and they created an organization called the New England Society for Psychic Research, NESPR, and it still exists to this day. They still are out there doing the work of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
And it's his daughter and her husband, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a group of people that learned from them.
Yeah.
And now their son-in-law is like continuing their work. So there's never going to be a shortage of Warren's stories
No.
because their lineage literally is going on.
That, and that's not even counting, I don't know, there's like a dozen books they wrote with
Yeah.
like every chapter is a different story. Yeah, that's super, super fucking cool.
Yeah. If you want to actually learn about them and not the movies, there's this great documentary. I watched it on Max, but it's got to be other places as well. But it's called The Devil's Road, all about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and the NESPR organization is very active in the documentary as well. Like they even show you an exorcism that Ed and Lorraine did that was never shown before. And they have current exorcisms that they show on the documentary as well, like ones that they're working on now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, crazy stuff. So if you're looking for real stuff, you know,
This ain't it.
the movies aren't it.
Mhm.
Don't watch the movies looking for anything real. But
I'm
Go
just
back to-
kidding. I just don't understand it.
I get it. That's okay. I'm here to explain.
So I'm here to
everything
make fun
you.
of it because I don't understand it because it's what I do.
They're great movies. So let's start with there's a short film called The Nurse that was done. I watched it before we started.
Mhm.
Super creepy. For being a 2-minute short, I can see why it was one of the winners, like one of the top 5 or something like that. But they did like an Annabelle contest.
No shit.
Yeah. And this was one of the ones.
Okay.
That was one of the top ones.
I had no idea.
So I went on IMDb, and IMDb gave me the order in which to watch them.
Okay, like a chronological
Yes.
versus theatrical.
Right.
Got it.
So The Nurse would be one to watch.
Hmm.
Was it the first on the list? I don't exactly understand, but
Just probably where it takes place in the timeline.
I guess so. Yeah, definitely just check it out. The Nurse. You can find it on YouTube. Then The Nun,
Hmm.
which I am a huge fan of.
The Nun, to me, I think you would like because it. I mean, I don't know how big of a fan you are, but it feels like a Hammer movie.
Oh yeah,
Big
It
time.
does.
It's very gothic. A lot of matte paintings that look really cool.
the visuals.
Yeah. So when I first saw it, I was a little disappointed with it because I think I expected more of The Nun. But when I watched it again on home video, it was like, dude, this is kind of fun. This is a good slow boil. And
Mhm.
I really got lost in the visuals, man. I think it just, to me, that's the Conjuring Universe's Hammer film.
Yes, I agree 100%. There's a scene where one of the nuns turns around and she has just this single teardrop going down her face, and just the emotion behind all her eyes was just incredible. The acting is on par with like Emmy Award winning acting.
You don't want to spend 5 minutes in that convent.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very imposing set.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best movies they've made.
It's very cool.
So after The Nun, The Conjuring.
The
So-
original.
The original Conjuring. So I don't know. I know I already talked Brad's ear off, and you know all about this already as well.
Mhm.
But for the general audience who doesn't really know about The Conjuring, it's very loosely based on a true story.
Yeah.
Very loosely.
Yeah.
What actually happened in real life that I learned from the Devil's Road documentary
Mhm.
was that Ed and Lorraine Warren were contacted by the woman
The mom?
the mom,
Okay.
from the house. Weird things were going on. Ed and Lorraine Warren visited. Something happened with the wife,
Mm.
and the husband tried to help his wife because he was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Ed Warren tried to stop the husband from helping his wife.
Mm.
He was saying, stay away from her because something's going on with her and we don't want you to get hurt or her to get hurt.
Yeah.
But the husband was like, no, and punched Ed Warren in the face
Ooh.
and kicked him out of the house.
This would have been a short movie.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
And in The Conjuring, something similar does happen to that extent towards the end of the film
Mm-hmm.
when she is being possessed.
Yeah.
Because the mother does get possessed at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And the husband does freak out at the end.
Yeah.
So very loosely based on a true story because pretty much everything else that happened was not true.
But a blast.
But a blast. A super cool movie to watch.
Feels very 70s.
Yeah, definitely.
The slow zooms and some of that stuff. It's pretty rad.
Yes. It was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
The dog's name is Sadie. Shout out Sadie. Love that dog.
Hashtag justice for Sadie.
Yeah, exactly. So then The Conjuring 2. Now, this one is less loosely based on the true story.
No, this one hit every beat.
Yeah.
That I was aware of anyway.
It's all about this family in Europe, right? In the UK. And this poor woman has been cheated on. Her husband left her with a bunch of kids. She's stuck at home. And she lives in this terrible place. And she's applied for the housing to help her out because, like, her laundry machine is flooding. And I believe this actually did happen in real life. She was having issues with her housing.
Yeah.
And she applied and begged the courts to please move her into a different house. And they wouldn't. Her kids, unfortunately, were playing around with Ouija boards at school, brought it home, and then weird things started happening at home. The daughter got possessed. There was a weird man's voice that would come out of her. It was so popular that news cameras and news stations were showing up to interview her, and that's why Ed and Lorraine even found out about this.
It was the UK's Amityville.
Yeah.
They called it. The Enfield Poltergeist.
Right.
It's called.
Exactly. And there were so many news stations and reporters that documented the possession.
Yeah, that was, I think I read somewhere that's the most documented case of a haunting or possession on record.
Yeah, I think so.
In the realm of paranormal, because it was like,
so documented.
The photos are waist deep. There's footage for hours.
There's a bunch of parts of the movie, but like one of the parts is she's drinking a glass of water, or she's holding some water in her mouth, and you can still hear the man's voice coming from inside her body, like the demon's voice, even though she's got water in her mouth. So there's something that's literally speaking from behind her, and they caught it on camera. There's another part where she and her sister, I think, were being levitated off their beds, caught on camera. There's so many things were caught. So many interviews with the man speaking and saying that I've taken over her body. She's not here anymore. Crazy stuff. And when you watch the movie and then you go back and watch the footage of the real hauntings and extras or whatever.
They did their homework.
They really did. I mean, they matched it up to the T. And the fact that I've never really seen that little girl in more movies is crazy because she killed it.
Oh, the one who played the possessed girl.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
The main girl from The Conjuring 2. The little girl. Oh my God. She was phenomenal. She killed it.
Yeah.
She was so believable.
You felt bad for her.
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching a documentary.
Yeah.
Because they did such a good job. And yes, there's like very horror elements that are not real. Like there's a part where she somehow she's like attached to her ceiling. There's things that didn't happen in real life, but they're cool. It doesn't matter. Visually, they were cool. They were added to the movie to make it look real.
They built the suspense.
Yeah. But there was also so much stuff that really did happen that they got to the T. And there's even audio that they play at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
The real haunting and the real possession. Crazy stuff.
That's one of the cool things about the Conjuring movies I like is during the credits, it's like, here's the real shit.
Yeah. And they did side-by-side photos of the real thing and the fake one.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Insane. So The Conjuring 2 was one of I think, the best.
Yeah.
As far as accuracy goes.
Agreed.
So then you're supposed to watch The Devil Made Me Do It, which apparently isn't the last one.
No. One more.
Yep, I guess. And then Annabelle. And then Annabelle Creation.
Mm-hmm. Which is a prequel to Annabelle, which itself was a prequel to The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going back further and further.
Yep. And then Annabelle Comes Home.
That one's my favorite of the Annabelle movies.
Me too.
I think it's a blast.
I think so too. It's the more fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Roll your eyes all you want, Brad, but it's super fun.
Just wake me up when you guys are done.
Then The Conjuring 2, there's a video remake.
What?
Yeah. So I'm going to do my research
Okay.
tomorrow on that because I have to see it.
All right.
Then this one you told me to watch,
Yeah.
The Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah, that one's a tricky one because they completely excise the Warrens from the film.
Yeah, they do.
They were involved
Yeah.
heavily, but I guess whatever litigation, there's stuff behind the scenes where they're not in the movie at all.
Yeah.
But based on the success of that movie, I heard that's what got people interested in doing, maybe we should actually do Ed and Lorraine movies.
Right. I agree. I'm sure that is what happened.
Mhm.
There's a lot of documentaries on the haunting in Connecticut as well. So that's just one that's very documented and people were there. There were a lot of witnesses. So if you want to learn about it, just Google it. And there's a ton of documentaries.
Was that the one Marty said there was a guy in that documentary with like black eyes and he showed us the one day? Yeah, but that was like the Discovery Channel doc and he was like, this really fucking creeped me out. But yeah, I've heard that documentary is terrifying. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, the woman who lived in the home with her son who had cancer, that's what it is. She couldn't make the drive back and forth, and she found a literal mortuary. They moved in. She didn't believe her son when he kept telling her that things were happening inside the home because she was chalking it up to the cancer treatments messing with his brain
Oh, yeah.
until her niece moved in. Turns out there was a bunch of people practicing necrophilia inside the mortuary, and there were just all sorts of weird, horrible hauntings happening inside of that because of that. Yeah.
That was another one that for a PG-13, that was rough.
Yeah, it didn't feel like PG-13.
No, it didn't. It went to some dark places. And like you mentioned, the niece, it was very reminiscent of The Entity.
So The Haunting in Connecticut has a second. Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia.
Now, have you seen it?
No.
It's solid.
Oh, cool.
It really is. It's the dumbest title because why would you be a haunting in Connecticut and be in Georgia? You know, it was like, just call it a haunting in Georgia and people can connect the dots.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But it was solid. It's about a family that lives on an old slave plantation and the slaves are lurking around
Nice.
the fields and stuff. And
Nice.
it's creepy. It's genuinely creepy.
That sounds mortifying.
Yeah. And it was one that really got shit on when it came out. It didn't last very long, wasn't very successful. So I went into it. Again, it was hard to get past the title.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you can't even do a competent title, it was solid.
Cool.
I came away from it actually liking it. There's a lot of creepy visuals.
So if you guys don't like it, 5195podcast@gmail.com. Hate mail can go to Jace this time.
Care of Jace.
Care of Jace.
Yes.
So then the next movie is The Haunted, which came out in 1991.
Ooh, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. So I'm obviously going to look that one up as well.
I think that was a made-for-television movie.
It probably was.
Yeah.
And then after that, Amityville Horror. I think that's the one everyone knows. There were two. Amityville Horror that came out in 2005, and then one that came out in 1979.
Yes.
And then there was another one that came out that called My Amityville Horror in 2012.
That's a documentary.
Okay, cool.
And-
So that'll probably be more interesting for me.
It is. And that's one where one of the Lutz children, he grew up and he's basically telling us about how that case fucked up his childhood.
Rad.
And there's a pretty big sequence where he goes to Lorraine's home and they discuss the case and some of the things
Crazy.
she saw, some of the things he experienced.
Crazy.
One of the weirder things in that one, he talks about, it's in the first movie where one of the kids has their hand on like a windowsill and the window slams shut.
Ugh.
He said that his fingers, there was like a rectangle, like they were completely flat.
Wow.
Completely flat. Said it didn't hurt, but like when he shook his hand, it was normal again.
Oh, shit.
So it was almost like the window crushed his hand, but whatever was in the house was fucking with him.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a weird story he told,
That's
but
crazy.
I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think Lorraine was there to see that.
No shit.
I think so.
Yeah, Lorraine saw a lot of stuff.
She did.
So, I swear I'm going to try to be quick with the last few movies because I want to talk about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Sure.
So that was My Amityville Horror, which is
Mhm.
cool. So we all got to look up that documentary.
Definitely. I
Kim-
really enjoyed it.
Came out in 2012, if that helps you guys narrow it down at home.
Mhm.
And then they had one called Real Amityville, which was a TV movie that came out in 2005.
I don't know that one.
I don't either. But again, I'm stoked to look all these up and find them all and watch every single one of these. I'll let you guys know. How I like
Okay.
them. And then Amityville Awakening.
Okay, that's when Blumhouse got a hold of Amityville.
Okay, that sounds about right.
And it's kind of a meta flick because Bella Thorne and her mom, I think it's Jennifer Jason Leigh, they move into the Amityville home. And in this universe, everyone knows the movies.
Okay.
So this doesn't take
Cool.
place like as a sequel. Like literally, she's got friends at school that are like, I grabbed Amityville Horror. I grabbed Amityville Horror 2 and 3. Let's just go to the house and have a marathon in the Amityville house.
Nice.
So literally, he's busting DVDs out and he's like, this would be rad, you know. But what it turns out being is her brother, who was in a car accident, is a paraplegic. He is completely crippled, can't move.
Or lazy.
Yeah.
Tomato.
The mom basically believed that whatever was in this house could cure him.
Mm.
She thought whatever spirits are in this house could do something to bring him back. And anyone who's known anything about Amityville knows probably not going to be good.
Not the case.
Yeah.
No. But it was a solid movie.
Okay, so
Really?
Amityville
Okay.
Awakening.
Yes.
That's what that's called.
Great movie.
We'll check that out too.
Yes.
So there was a second one called The Possession.
Now
Is
that's
that another meta film like that?
No, Amityville Possession was 1982. It's a prequel to the original film from 79.
Okay, cool.
And to be completely honest, that one is a much more embellished version of the DeFeo murders.
Rad. I can't wait to see that.
So we're not continuing after the Lutzes left. We're literally, the movie ends with for sale. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the DeFeos. I forget what their names are in this
Ronnie
movie.
DeFeo and
Yeah, they changed the name in the movie. But it's about basically all the paranormal and fucked up events that led up to him shotgunning his family.
terrible. But
Yeah, it's
still
crazy.
Cool. I'm sure cool watch, but terrible situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then so this must be when all the 3D movies were coming out with like this Jaws 3D and everything because it's
Yes.
Amityville 3D, right? Am I wrong?
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And is it part 3?
Yes.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So
What's funny though is if you look up an old one sheet, it says not a sequel to Amityville Horror. Why the fuck would you put a 3 on it?
Yeah.
I
It's the
don't know,
third.
but
You know,
I
it's
have to watch it.
Oh, they're
Super-
probably just
super bizarre.
running with the 3D.
It
Yeah,
is. But
yeah.
to me, it's another one like Friday, Jaws,
Yeah.
where part of the fun is just seeing all the bizarre shit that they throw at your face.
Mhm.
That make it 3D.
Yeah. But there's a really crazy scene with Lori Loughlin in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of the creepiest parts of the movie. I won't ruin it for you guys.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. No, that one's my guilty pleasure. It is.
Oh, I
just
love that.
just like Jaws 3, it's one of those that everyone shits on, but I'm like, all the reasons you don't like it are kind of the reasons I do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's a fun one.
Rad. Can't wait to see it.
Mhm.
So then The Nun 2.
It took that long to get back to the Nun?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why though, because that doesn't make much sense to me. 'Cause The Nun 2 kind of takes place right after The Nun, doesn't it? Shortly thereafter.
If not too long after,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's the first one was like in the 50s,
I think so.
and I feel like Nun 2 was like in the 60s.
Yeah, it was when Lorraine Warren was still like going to be a nun.
Oh
before
yeah.
she met
Yeah.
Ed. This
yeah.
was before all
She
that.
was going to be a nun.
She was going to be a nun. So
Mhm.
basically, the whole story with Ed and okay. So real quick, the last few were short films. So it was the Confession short, What's Wrong with Mom short, Blonde's Lullaby short, and I couldn't find any of those online. So if
No
you can
shit.
find it, yeah. It's on IMDb though, so they all.
There's no, like, maybe
There
in the
was-
special features?
No.
No, there was one called "What's Wrong with Mom" that was in Spanish, and maybe that was it.
That
but-
sounds like it would have been connected to La Llorona.
Okay, so it might have been because La Llorona came out right after in
Yeah.
2019. So it might have been. So that
Yeah.
was the last of the movies.
The official movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's get to The Devil's Road. I learned so much about Ed and Lorraine Warren from this documentary. I recommend everyone watches it, even if they're kind of interested in this kind of stuff.
Fair.
You don't even have to really be interested in Ed and Lorraine to watch the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear to God, you will be after you watch because they were a crazy couple.
Yeah, they were.
Even in the documentary, the people who knew them say that not everything they did was necessarily real and true,
Yeah.
as far as they know.
There's a lot of controversy that surrounds the real people.
Yeah. And they also didn't exactly completely hide that
It was bullshit?
Well, it's not that they came out with it's not that at all. But
Horseshit.
okay, so Ed and Lorraine Warren met at a movie theater or something like that.
Yeah.
Ed worked there at the movie theater,
Yep.
and she would always go see movies.
Mm-hmm.
But she was literally going to go to school to become a nun. That was her whole life journey.
Yeah.
When she was younger, she would see people's auras and she'd have visions.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew she had a gift from God.
Yeah.
And some people are really like that. I'm not saying she wasn't.
Mm.
She could very well have been.
They're called crazy.
I mean, some people are. I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't have a connection.
I said I will be rude.
She said, you have a particular glow about you. And they were like, who the fuck brought you to Chernobyl?
Yikes.
Why aren't you in a radioactive suit?
Yeah. Some people.
Okay, so
Like,
they met in a theater.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just rude.
I'm
They
sorry.
met
I
in
know.
a theater.
I threw you for a loop.
You
I'm
did.
sorry.
You did. Because I'm trying to not be rude.
I
Because
said I
some
will.
people, I know. Because like I'm very opinionated too, and
But I'm just good at it.
I know.
So
I know. And I'm accidentally good at it, which is the worst kind of good to be at it, you know? Because I do believe her. I do. But some people I don't believe. Because some people I feel like have maybe like mental health issues and they aren't necessarily seeing
well, yeah. I
real
mean,
demons. They're seeing their own
absolutely.
demons, you know?
Sure.
And I'm not
especially if
trying
they're
to be
saying they
rude.
see auras or visions or stuff. They're usually
You-
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes people can take medication and it levels them out and they don't see them anymore. And then some people do take medication and it doesn't help them at all. And maybe these people are really connected spiritually. I don't know. I'm not, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was. But she says she was. And I don't know her. So we're going to go with she was. She met Ed, but he was joining the military.
Yeah.
He was like, but he liked her, but he was like 17 or just turned 18. And she was just a little bit younger than him. So he took off. But the whole time he was overseas, he was writing to her. They were writing back and forth. And he came back and he was like, I want to marry you. So they got married. Just like that. Really quick. They got married and they were a couple. Ed was an artist. He was a painter.
Yep.
So Ed and Lorraine would go to people's homes and he would paint the home and Lorraine would tell him where she would see spirits and he would draw in the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go knock on the person's door and tell them, hey, I'm a painter. I'm a local painter. My wife, we're not trying to freak you out or anything like that, but my wife has these visions and these premonitions. And she says that you might have something inside of your home. She wanted me to draw this for you guys. This is what she feels the image is, and this is what she feels like the spirit is. Do you guys, by any chance, have some sort of something that's going on in your home? Because my wife feels like you guys have something going on. And 9 times out of 10, apparently, there was something going on inside of these people's homes. And she was right. And they were going into these people's homes for free and exercising their homes, basically, for free. At no cost, wouldn't ask for donations, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the weird part is like, maybe they were doing it as a gimmick to kind of sell his paintings. Maybe that's where it was. The gimmick was, whereas
Maybe.
they were going door to door to try to make $20 or $10 as like a donation from the paintings after doing people a favor by exercising their home.
Well, that and Ed was notorious for, during the investigation, he would just fix shit around the house.
He would. He was just helpful.
Yeah.
They were just nice people.
Oh, your sink is leaking. And he'd be like, where's your toolbox? And he'd just fix it.
And he'd fix it.
You know.
Your car is broken down? Well, I might have I might know someone who has the parts for that. And
Mhm.
he'd go get it for free and come in and fix it for free. So everything they did was for free. They were just super, super nice people. And even now, the New England Society for Psychic Research, everything they do is free. They don't take money. Everything's nonprofit.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where it's like, were they lying or were they actually just like being good people? And
It's possible.
It's
you know,
possible.
It's hard to say. The thing is, you're also talking about an era where people were more spiritual.
yeah,
So someone could knock on a door and they'd be like, far out, man.
yeah.
I saw something inside. Yeah, come on in. Whereas today they'd be like, you're fucking nuts. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
Well, you'd be on my Ring camera, and I just
For sure.
like, oh,
exactly.
Call the police.
Yeah, you know.
Yep. Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's like back then people were open to that shit.
Yeah.
By a long shot, you know.
They believed in God more back then.
Mhm.
And because they believed in God, they believed in Satan and demons and the devil
Yep.
much more. And they had this very healthy fear.
Yeah, it was much more of a package deal.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it was just more, but it wasn't acceptable by any means. Like they would go on all these talk shows and they were always belittled and talked down on every single one.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that apparently Ed hated the most, but he did it the most because he was like, I want to go out and share my knowledge with people.
Spread the word.
Yeah, but he hated it. But at the same time,
Sure.
I'm sure the talk shows did pay.
I'm sure they
So-
did too, but it's like he knew he was being set up in the dunk tank.
He did.
You know,
Every single one he knew. He would go in ready for an argument.
Yep.
Where Lorraine was going in kind of trying to sway people more, and where
Mhm.
he was going in as a, no, I'm going to prove to you that
Mhm.
I'm telling the truth. And I'm not, this isn't a gimmick, and it's not all for show.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, the Conjuring movie was made by them. It was made by Ed and Lorraine Warren. They had a heavy hand in that.
Yes.
None of it was true, though.
The
The
first
whole
the first
movie was all made up.
Yeah.
But they definitely marketed it as based on a true story.
And why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, it
I mean,
clearly
it's only-
worked like gangbusters.
It sure did,
You know.
and they made a ton of money off of it. And from
Mhm.
what I know, the original family isn't too happy about that.
No, I've heard they're not thrilled.
And I've just seen quotes. I don't know for sure, but I've seen quotes from the kids saying that they're really upset that they were basically exploited.
Mm.
But I don't know how much truth there is to that because I haven't seen the videos. I've just seen a lot of quotes.
Me neither. And the Conjuring Blu-ray has the mom and her daughters walking through the set, James Wan's set of their house.
Hmm.
And you actually see the mom. She's like, I have to get out of here. It looks too much like, she goes, it's bringing back too much. And like the daughters weren't as freaked out, but they were like, you guys, this is nuts. This looks just like where we grew up.
Hmm.
We remember something happening there, something happening there. And the mom, you know, to Warner's credit, because they always preface Blu-rays and stuff with, it's not the opinions of Warner Brothers, you know. The mom flat out says, I will not be seeing this movie.
Yeah.
She's like, it just dredges up too much trauma.
Huh.
And it was like, wow, okay, you know.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine having lived through that and then watching someone make a movie about me and then not being the one who gets all the money.
Oh, sure.
I feel like you owe me everything
Yeah,
because that happened to me, not you.
yeah.
So I don't know.
No, it's kind of a weird situation. Considering it's all, in quotes, true,
Right.
I imagine litigation would have been rampant,
Yeah.
you know, because everyone wants a piece.
Right.
If you're going to tell my story, you better do it right, you know.
Right. But I mean, shouldn't they?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why I loved The Conjuring 2 so much. Was
Yeah.
Because there was just so much to it that was so accurate.
Yeah.
The Conjuring 1, I mean, they had a whole entire story about a witch who owned the land and she was
Which
upset. when
she
the land
apparently
was taken,
existed.
and- yeah.
Because-
Bathsheba.
Bathsheba, that's Marty visited her grave.
Mm-hmm.
So
So-
she's on that land,
Yeah.
you know, but whether she had anything to do with a curse or the haunting,
Wait, what do you mean she's on that land? She's buried.
she's
on
buried
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty found her tombstone, I guess,
Hmm.
or at least, you know, wherever she was buried. And yeah, they find a pretty clever way to tie it all together to where it makes sense.
That's why I'm like, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but my goodness, the way that they tie everything together is
Yeah.
so cool. Like even tying Annabelle into the nun and tying the
Mm-hmm.
nun into the Conjuring, because at the beginning of the Conjuring movies, you see that they're doing an exorcism with Frenchie, who's in the nun.
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole universe.
Yep.
That you wouldn't put it two to two
My
and two.
dog?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
But that's why I call
And he was
Cause
like,
Frenchie.
"Arr, arr, arr."
Because that's Frenchie from the nun. He's the best character. If it wasn't for Frenchie, they'd all be dead.
Okay,
There
don't ever
would-
call him that again.
He is my French boy. He is perfect. I love my French bulldog. But the actual character in the nun, Frenchie, nobody would have survived if it wasn't for him.
Mm-mm.
And unfortunately, he pays the heaviest price
Yes.
of all the characters. And you see it all the way through into the Conjuring movie, which happened, 30 years later?
Something like that.
So the fact that they tied it all in together,
Mm,
even though it was 30 years apart in two completely different movies, was so cool.
clever writing.
Very clever writing. And the way that they tie all of that into Annabelle,
Hmm.
and even Annabelle Comes Home, because that's such a current one.
Yeah.
That's more new age.
Hmm.
And it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just about a bunch of girls who are stuck in a house with the Annabelle doll.
Babysitting.
Babysitting.
In the Warrens' house. And the top rule, like Fight Club, don't fucking touch anything.
Don't go. Or just keep the door shut. Don't go
Keep
in
the
the
door
museum.
shut. If you touch something, you're going to stir up bad vibes, bad whatever. And one of the girls, she breaks into the room and she was trying to contact her dead father and was looking for an object that she thought might do it. But she's kind of dicking around with everything in the room. And the whole time you're like, stop touching shit. And it literally turns into a horror version of Night at the Museum.
Yeah, because everything she's touched, she's now activated and is now coming to life to come after them.
So it's packed with like all these cool ghosts and creatures. And there's the Black Shuck, which is like this werewolf demon. That was a story I showed you a long time ago. The guy in West End. They have something called the what's he called? The guy with the lantern.
Oh.
The ferryman.
Yeah, the ferryman.
He's like a dead guy with a lantern and he's got the coins over his eyes.
Oh.
And he looks fucking rad, you know. So I mean it was cool because it was like introducing all kinds of shit that we may never have got to, and they kind of packed it into one chaotic, crazy movie.
Right.
But they definitely also introduced a lot of really cool characters that they could make movies off of now.
Oh yeah,
they
like I
could
said,
make movies about all these people.
everything in that room is a story.
Yeah, there was like a little monkey with the circus monkey with the tambourine thing that he claps to make noises. I don't know.
Symbols?
The symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah, the symbols, the little monkey with the symbols. Oh my gosh. Like that in and of itself would be a crazy horror movie.
Oh yeah. Well, the monkey just came out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
See? Who knows? That could be tied in.
One of the things in Annabelle Comes Home that freaked me out was the TV that was on like a 5-second future.
Yeah.
Like instead of a delay, it was like you'd see yourself saying something and you're like, what the fuck? And then you would say it. You know, like it knew what you were going to do. And at one point, while the girl's trying to get out of the room, we pan down to the TV and she's absolutely covered in blood and screaming. And you're like, oh my God, get the fuck out. It was creepy because it was like, what the fuck is that story? Like a premonition box. You know, it was weird. Super weird.
One of the coolest movies.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. And I got to give it to Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They've literally become horror's like favorite couple.
Yeah. The fact that
they really whitewashed them and, you know, took away all the potential controversy.
They really did. They really did.
But it's like you want to hang with them. They seem like the coolest people and they've become, you know, beloved to the horror genre as heroes.
Yeah.
You know.
The fact that, because there's a lot of articles about how, God, I hope nobody gets offended for me talking about this. But like there's a lot of articles that Ed Warren was having an affair the whole entire time he was married with this younger woman that Lorraine knew, who was around all the time. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but there's just a lot of people that talked about it. But the fact that like it's not well known and not talked about at all because they really are horrors like Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
You know.
And the thing is,
the haunting stuff, ghost stuff goes.
It's done very well to where you're like, I don't mind if this isn't 100% true.
Yeah.
I'm just going for the ride.
Yeah. The fact that they've really taken out all the drama and they're like, just enjoy.
Yep.
Just enjoy. And it is. You should take out all the drama. You should just enjoy the movies for what they are because they're fun. They're not all based fully on the true stories.
No.
But there are huge elements to them that are true that just makes it so cool.
Yeah.
So just, you know, just be there for the ride. Don't dive too deep into
the movies are the Wikipedia article of the actual case.
Yeah, definitely.
They're a good starting point if you want to go down the rabbit hole and find out for yourself what really happened.
Exactly. And you were mentioning how well the actors do.
Oh, they're amazing.
The fact that Patrick Wilson, is in the Insidious universe.
Yes.
But you would never mistake him for being Ed Warren in the Insidious
No, that's
universe.
what's funny. Yeah, it's two very separate performances.
Oh my God, yeah.
You
like Ed Warren
same director though.
Yeah, but Ed Warren is so nice and he's so kind and he's who you want on your side.
Yeah.
The guy from Insidious, I don't know his name, but he is not Ed Warren. That is not the same
I
man.
forget the name, yeah.
But
the character he plays.
The character is a dick.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Yeah.
He does not have his wife's back at all. the fact that they're divorced in the future movies, for sure, saw that coming because he
He's-
was a jerk.
He's the doubting Thomas.
Oh my God, he was so rude the whole entire time. And he plays the villain at one point as well, to where it's like, yeah, for sure, not Ed Warren. Patrick Wilson does a really, really, really great job of playing two very different characters to where you would never get confused because
Yeah.
he's just so specific.
Nope, just great performances.
Yeah, and he directed The Devil Made Me Do It, right? He directed bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. I
He
think.
may have. I know he directed the last Insidious for sure.
That's what it was. The Insidious.
The Red Door. Or,
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that's his series. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the franchise. He did all right.
Yeah, it's funny that he came from like Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, the Gerard Butler one.
No, he was in that.
Did you ever see Hard Candy?
No, but I will.
Did you see Hard Candy?
I did.
So, what was her name before she changed?
Oh God.
Juno.
Yeah.
Ellen Page.
Yes.
She plays this girl who goes to Patrick Wilson's apartment, and she's very flirty and very underage, and he's very welcoming of it. Then you come to find out that he killed her friend, and it's a movie where she drags him through the ringer. It turns into a torture flick where she's like, "You're gonna pay for what you did."
Nice.
And he plays a real scumbag. So just again, the whole, what do you call it? Range. The whole range
Yeah.
of Patrick Wilson. He's awesome.
Agreed.
Cool guy.
Yeah, I would love to work with Patrick Wilson
Yeah.
one day.
Question.
Yes.
Maybe you don't know. Why the doll change?
They probably just wanted something creepier.
I think they couldn't get the rights.
That
to
makes more
Raggedy Ann.
sense.
I think
Hopefully
that's
it's
what it
that
was.
because
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this right now. The Raggedy Ann,
Hmm.
much scarier than the doll.
I'm pretty
think so?
sure what
I
it,
do.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure what it was they couldn't get the rights.
Because it is a
Because
name.
it is
doll.
still owned by people, and they don't want it to have that
Negative
reputation.
connotations?
Yeah, they don't.
Sure.
I mean, I
Because it's
get it,
not.
but
No,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes
She-
sense.
She was never supposed to be. If you've seen I was really recently watching one of the Conjuring. I want to say the Conjuring 2,
Hmm.
or maybe it's the first Conjuring movie.
Hmm.
But there's a part where she's with her nana, and the daughter
Yeah.
is with her nana, and she walks down the stairs because she wakes up in the middle of the night because
Yes.
Annabelle got out,
Yes.
and the door is open, and everything turns black, and then she was gonna go up the stairs to her nana, but everything turns black and starts to come towards her, so she runs into a room and shuts the door, and she turns around and there's a rocking chair, and there's a girl with sandy blonde hair similar to the new Annabelle doll, dressed up kind of in
Mhm.
white. And she's holding the new Annabelle doll, brushing her hair and rocking back and forth. And the Annabelle doll turns around and looks at her. But the girl in the rocking chair, oh my God, that scared me so much.
Yeah, that's
To where
nice.
I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if the original Raggedy Ann doll would have been as scary. I think that the way they created the new doll and the way they played it in the movies
You gotta
made her scariest.
heighten that shit.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
made
but
it
also
scary.
too, the problem I have with the Raggedy Ann doll is every time we go somewhere, mainly like an antique store,
Sure.
and we could be going to places that have stuff, old as shit,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these things, could have souls
Something
attached to them, and there's someone I know that always finds them and they're just disgusting looking.
They're
Ugh.
not
And
disgusting
they're
looking.
terrifying, and
No, they're
she
not.
wants to buy them and bring them in the home.
I want to buy them all, and he won't let me even bring one of them home.
No. I said, fucking find a new one like at Target
Hmm.
and we're cool. But you're not going to buy an old fucking Raggedy Ann doll from an antique store. Fuck
I don't know
that.
why you hate me so much.
I thought I just said it.
I'd
Would
buy
you
it.
want an old Raggedy Ann doll in your house that you found at a yard sale or a fucking swap meet or an
Yes.
antique store?
Yes.
No, the vibes are too strong.
Thank you.
If it
I'm
was,
too
if it
paranoid.
had weird vibes, I wouldn't want it.
Oh, bullshit. You welcome them. Look at you
No, I
fucking go
don't.
to sleep wrapped in a Conjuring blanket
Listen.
watching the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't want to actually be haunted. I wouldn't.
It
actually.
sure doesn't seem that way.
I'm just in
It's
it
our
for the
comfort
vibes.
food.
Yeah. Good
Hmm.
vibes. Only good vibes.
Okay, cool.
one of the little girls from The Conjuring, her real name is Joey King.
Mhm.
While she was on the set of The Conjuring, she talks about this all the time in interviews. While she's on the set of The Conjuring, she developed a disorder where she was losing all of the blood inside of her body, basically.
What?
She like couldn't formulate the blood like fast enough. Like her platelets were just all off.
Ew.
And it was only happening when she was on set shooting the movie. And when she wrapped and she left, everything went back to normal. But this is all like documented, medically documented and everything. Like she talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
So that's another part where I'm like, I personally believe in weird hauntings and ghosts and things like that. I don't necessarily believe it's your loved ones coming back to talk to you or to visit you. But I do believe that there's just unexplained things. And I do think that it's intelligent, whatever it might be, and it can play on you. A big reason why I truly believe that is like if you watch the Ouija movie, like the Origin movie.
Yeah.
That's all she does is she plays on she reads you and she plays on your weaknesses.
Yep.
And you've seen the movie. Anyone can do that if you're smart enough. They have a whole entire show called Psych where that's what he does. He just analyzes you, and then he pretends to be a psychic person to get ahead, and he solves all these police cases. But I mean, there's literally psychics who do that as a profession. They go in and they counsel police officers and stuff. So maybe some of them are true. Maybe some of them are just professionals. They're just good at reading and they play on you. But something like that where it's documented and she had all these issues with her blood makes me believe it a little bit more. And it makes me believe Ed and Lorraine Warren a little bit more because it's like, how could you argue that? How can you argue science?
No, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it seems like you have a lot of research to do.
I do. I've done a lot, but I have a lot more.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's going to be possibly a part 2.
I will if you guys, and if the people want to hear more, me rant more about The Conjuring, I would love to come back.
Well, that's why I said maybe we could bring Marty.
Yeah.
And then we can do a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that I'm not interested. It's just like the MCU. I'm like, there's so much.
There is.
And it's just overwhelming.
Very.
You need to just start with a good one. I don't know which one. One that kind of like has elements of everything. A fun one. And then he'll want to go. Wow.
I'm
offended.
Repossessed.
I'll go to the lab. I'll go to the lab.
Reanimated.
Yeah, Reanimator.
Okay.
Seller.
We'll go to the lab and stir something.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. So hopefully we'll reach out to Marty. You do some research. Maybe I'll watch 1 or 2. And then I'll have more snarky comments to say.
See what's up.
In the second episode.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Well, until next time.
See you guys.
Bye.